Hello, I am Professor Kino and welcome to my Office of Cinematic Antiquity. Today I will be reflecting on 2018 in order to provide you with my top 10 favorite films of the year. Since this is my first top 10 of the year list, I think it'll be important to break down how I'm going to do this list first. I looked back at all the films I saw and made a list of the ones that I liked. Then I, one by one, crossed them out until I had 10 films left. Now, it would be easy to simply list these 10 films and call it a day, but I feel like since I had so many films on my initial list, I should also add in honorable mentions throughout the video. So this will be a top 10 favorite films of 2018 list, in addition to kind of a reflection on a bunch of solid films that came out last year. However, the meat of this video will be my top 10 list, so I will talk more about those as opposed to my honorable mentions, which will merely get mentioned by name and given a brief one-sentence description. And two final things to note before I begin. One, this is all just my opinion, as it is a list of my favorite films of 2018 and not a list of the objectively best films of 2018. And two, I have not seen every film in 2018. If Beale Street Could Talk, The Death of Stalin, Mary Poppins Returns, etc. So it is very possible that not every film that deserves a spot will be included in my list, because maybe I haven't seen them yet. But anyway, now that we've gotten the groundwork out of the way, let's jump into this list. Kicking it off is my first batch of honorable mentions. Christopher Robin, a heartfelt, fun, and safe film that returns Winnie the Pooh to the big screen in a marvelous fashion. Assassination Nation, an intriguing modern reimagining of the Salem witch trials that utilizes social media, the internet, and the vitriol that can infest the online world. Alpha, a survival film that focuses on the first bond between man and dog. Suspiria, an engaging and wholly unique remake of the 1977 original horror film about a dance troupe led by a coven of witches, and The Ballad of Buster Scruggs, an anthology western film by the Coen brothers that is unique, sharp, and very characteristic of the Coen brothers. And now, my number 10 film of 2018, Terminal. I have not seen Terminal on anyone else's top 10 lists for 2018, and I can understand why. It is a bit messy, a bit convoluted, and at times pretentious. In fact, it has received some of the harshest reviews I've read in 2018, my favorite being, "How did debuting filmmaker Vaughn Stein ever persuade Margot Robbie, just off her Oscar-nominated triumph in I, Tonya, to star in a script that plays like something Quentin Tarantino upchucked after watching Blade Runner while reading Alice in Wonderland and ingesting too many hallucinogens?" I mean, wow. But I ended up checking it out eventually, and I actually liked it quite a bit. I thought the acting was solid, particularly from Simon Pegg and Margot Robbie, and I thought the story was engaging and unique. And the more I see it, I've probably seen it about 5 times now, the more I end up liking it. I'm not going to pretend it's an amazing film, but it, surprisingly to me, captivated me and stuck itself in the back of my mind after my initial viewing, and for that reason, I decided to give it my number 10 spot. Now, coming in at number 9 is Mission Impossible Fallout. A lot of people I know who saw this film thought it was the greatest action film since Mad Max Fury Road, and while I don't feel like I loved it as much as that, I thought it was a wonderful ride for anyone who was a fan of action films using practical effects, and fans of the Mission Impossible movies. Tom Cruise is still on the top of his game, and it is great to see him and all the other cast members doing their typically amazing stunt work. It is definitely a film that keeps you on your toes, particularly in all the immensely well-crafted action scenes. While I still think that my favorite of the franchise is Ghost Protocol, Fallout comes in a really close second place, and I can't wait to watch it again. And coming in at number 8 is Halloween. I have not been a really big horror slasher fan until relatively recently, and even so, I have never been a huge fan of the classic slasher films. However, I do like the original Halloween quite a bit. Now, I was doubtful when I heard that there was a new one being made. Most of the Halloween sequels are a lot of things, but good is not really one of them. However, after watching Halloween 2018, I felt like it was a proper sequel. I know not everyone liked it, but I am not one of those people. I thought the whole thing was tense, enjoyable, and most importantly, a fascinating sequel to the original that felt like it actually had something to say and explore, i.e. the PTSD of the original film's victim. It is definitely a film that has gained a spot on my yearly Halloween horror movie marathon. Next up, we have my second batch of honorable mentions. Hereditary, a disturbing but excellently crafted film that deals with family tragedy, grief, and guilt. Game Night, a surprisingly funny movie about, well, a game night that goes horribly awry. Simple Favor, a fascinating take on the missing friend storyline that features charming lead performances by Anna Kendrick and Blake Lively. Bumblebee, an actually well-crafted film in the Transformers franchise that feels very much like a combination of an 80s Spielbergian adventure, The Iron Giant, and the 90s Transformers cartoon. And Sorry to Bother You, a film that deals with capitalism, race, selling out, and much more in what amounts to one of the most unique films I saw in 2018. Next, my 7th favorite film of 2018, Overlord. What this film lacks in strong characters, it makes up for in amazing cinematography, music, atmosphere, and just plain entertainment. I mean, it's a film about Nazi zombies. It could have easily gone off the rails and become a ridiculous mess, but Julius Avery ended up crafting it with such finesse and style that it is hard to not be entertained by it. I loved experiencing every minute of this film. I am so ready to see it again the second it comes out on disc. Then, coming in at number 6 is The Incredibles 2. While the film does have some similarities to its predecessor, that doesn't stop the film from taking the stage with flying colors. The characters are as lovable as ever, the family dynamics in it are hysterical and fun, the animation is stellar, the action is captivating, the music is perfect, and I find myself consistently engrossed with it. And let me tell you, I am glued to the screen during the last big action scene every single time I watch, and I've seen it 4 or 5 times now, and because of that, it was destined to earn a spot on my list. And coming in at number 5 is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. It took me a while to get around to this one because I was on the road when it came out, but I kept hearing amazing things about it. And while at times this type of hype can seem misplaced, in the case of Spider-Verse, I have to say that this hype did not do the film justice. It is spectacular. It is self-aware, hysterical, extremely well written and acted, stylishly animated, and so much more. This is hands down the best Spider-Man film we've ever gotten, live action or animated, and that's saying a lot. But what makes this film even better is that anyone can enjoy it, Spider-Man fan or not. I not only hope this film gets a sequel, I am ecstatic for it. Next up is my 3rd batch of honorable mentions. A Quiet Place, a fantastic horror film with a simple premise that is effective and utilizes its potential to the fullest. Bohemian Rhapsody, an extremely entertaining film about Queen and Freddie Mercury, who is spectacularly portrayed by Rami Malek, that really makes you feel like you're at a live concert. Tully, a spectacular and in many ways realistic film with an amazingly performance by Charlize Theron that perfectly captures what it's like to be a mother and a parent, and Aquaman, a wholly entertaining action-adventure film that fully embraces its source material's ridiculousness to great effect. Next, my 4th favorite film of 2018, Avengers: Infinity War. If you told me 10 years ago that 2008's Iron Man would eventually culminate into a 20-plus film franchise, and that the 19th film would not only be the biggest character crossover in cinematic history, but one of the best films of the whole franchise, I would have laughed. It was just unprecedented. Nothing like this has ever happened before. But here we are. Infinity War is amazing. Not only does it have compelling heroes, but also one of the most compelling villains in years. Its action is handled spectacularly, its CGI is top-notch, but most impressively is the way that it subverted all expectations and yet still feels like the perfect payoff for a decade of consistently entertaining Marvel films. This is something that I doubt will ever happen again with any other franchise. Now bring on Avengers Endgame. Then, coming in at number 3 is BlacKkKlansman. It's difficult to take a very political film and give it comedy without undermining the film's message. However, Spike Lee was able to do just that with BlacKkKlansman, one of his most powerful films in years. It is funny, it has tension, it has drama, and it has a powerful political core. While I know its message won't be something that everyone will appreciate, I definitely did. And the film's last 15 minutes or so transitions so beautifully between comedy and a powerful political punch that I always walk away feeling dazed and moved. And then, coming in at number 2 is Green Book. Just like with BlacKkKlansman mixing politics and comedy, it is equally difficult to take a political film and make it into a crowd pleaser. But Green Book succeeds in just this. It is a film that you can root for with characters that you can cheer for. This film made me laugh, made me cry, made me smile, and made me feel so many other emotions that I fell in love with it. Viggo Mortensen's and Mahershala Ali's performances are sublime, the music is beautiful, the pacing is consistent, and the drama is beyond engaging. It is a marvelous film that I am certain will go down as a classic. And now, before I reveal my number 1 film, just to build a little more anticipation, I will reveal my final batch of honorable mentions. Love, Simon, a spectacular coming-of-age story that puts a twist on this generally overused storyline by making the main character grapple with what it means to be gay in high school. Annihilation, another awesome science fiction film by Alex Garland that is unique, intriguing, and a real testament to the science fiction genre. Searching, a stellar thriller about a father looking for his missing daughter that is told entirely through a computer screen to great effect. And my final honorable mention, Upgrade, a low-budget action sci-fi thriller with phenomenal camera work during the action scenes and some unexpected and legitimately surprising twists. And now, finally, the pièce de résistance, the moment you've all been waiting for, my number one film of 2018, Bad Times at the El Royale. I've been watching a lot of top 10 films of 2018 lists of late, and I have to admit that I was extremely surprised that I didn't find a single list that even mentioned Bad Times at the El Royale, not even as an honorable mention, because I love this film. It is extremely well acted, has gorgeous cinematography, is fully unpredictable, has amazing dialogue akin to a Tarantino film, and has one of the most amazing soundtracks I have heard throughout the entirety of 2018. In fact, the music was so amazing that I've been on a 1960s kick for months now, and it has no signs of letting up ever. I have now seen this film 3 times, expecting it to lower in its entertainment factor with each viewing, but the opposite has happened. I have ended up loving it even more. I cannot wait to show this film to everyone that I know, and for that reason, I have decided to name Bad Times at the El Royale my favorite film of 2018. Thanks for watching, I hope you liked it. If you did, leave a like. If you want to see more, please subscribe. I have a top 10 most anticipated films of 2019 list coming out in the next couple of days, so keep an eye out for that. Until then, I am Professor Kino, and I look forward to our next discussion.